Today we will talk about XDC and what has been happening in the subset of what it is trying to tokenize in the trade finance industry around trade documents. And while that might not be exciting, it is a very large opportunity for XDC to actually establish itself as what could be the Bitcoin of the trade finance industry. And we will also tie R3 Corda in here. And I always like to remind everyone of how this ties back to Ripple and XRP by way of SBI R3 that has expanded a lot more as well. So here is an update from an expert who is not me.
Like all of us actually on this call, on this forum, it's pillar one and pillar two. I think we've got to focus on enabling the market, create the environment in which the systems and the technologies and the industries can grow. And so, yes, I think we have the tool. I think that's really important. One of the most exciting initiatives, I think, right now, anywhere in the trade environment is the Digital Standards Initiative in Singapore, because if that is successful, when it's successful, I should say, because it's a huge job, it will start connecting up the digital platforms. It will start connecting up the government to business systems by simply fast tracking the standards that are already in the market so they become universal global standards, and then creating standardized systems where there aren't any in existence. And I go back to what I said at the beginning. If we imagine our consumer world, if you remember the world of Betamax and VHS videos, or Apple and Microsoft kind of systems, when none of them talk to each other, it was horrendous, but it actually got solved pretty quickly in the grand scheme of things. And all we're talking about here is doing the same in the trade environment. So we know it's possible. We just got to keep focused on it, support it, and not try and pick off more than we can chew at any one time. So, I think it's really important we get some quick wins going on.
Whoops. Okay, so he is from the ICC, and the ICC is one of the entities that is heavily tied into the XDC network in regards to how XDC is trying to reimagine the entire trade finance industry on chain. So the next, the next point here is that this is talking about the Electronic Trade Document Act that came into power in September of 2023. The next big thing to actually get updated to cover digital assets and real world asset tokenization in trade finance is the Carriage of Goods by Sea Act, or COGSA. Well, what is that? Whoops, I was ahead of myself. So here is the ETDA, and that is wrapped up, and we should be seeing more and more implementation of that in the UK at least. So here is a little bit more on COGSA. It has been amended to adapt to digital developments in the trade finance industry. The amendments aim to ensure that COGSA remains relevant and effective in regulating the trade finance industry in the age of real-world asset tokenization. So if you actually go and look up what this is, it looks like it was last presented in September of 2005, but this is the the last update in regards to the increasing amount of electronic trade technology. And if you go and look in there, the same UN organization that is effectively tangentially tied into the XDC network is actually called out in here. So here's an article I found on it, but it is a law designed to govern the rights and responsibilities between the owners of the cargo that is actually being shipped and the person or entities that transport the cargo for a fee. It's an important piece of law because it applies to contracts for the carriage of goods by sea between foreign and U.S. ports for which bills of lading are issued. And what is XDC actually trying to do? Well, it is digitizing BLs. And with the R3 Corda platform, it is able to actually carry out smart contracts as well. So as we can see here, this is a piece of law that will have to be tweaked in order to accommodate the increasing adoption of these kinds of digital trade documents like the EBL and like what is in the model law on electronic transferable records, which comes out of the UN as well. So how how is this actually being put into effect? Well, here is more from the ICC, and it actually comes out of France. But here is an organization of the ecosystem after the adoption by France of a legal framework compatible with the MLETR. So it does have a lot actually happening here. But all of this looks a lot like what R3 Corda is actually trying to do, which is graphically summed up here. And just as a reminder, this map is from the XX account, which I refer to quite often. So where was I? Okay. So it is essentially revolving around a blockchain-based ledger that can handle EBLs, insurance invoices, customs documents, and everything else that is currently put into effect on hard copies. And we're not even truly referring to the actual tokenization of the trade finance assets itself, which will allow more and more investment as it becomes that much easier to actually invest in trade finance assets. And here we talk a little bit more about the e-documentation by, I think it's pronounced Anigio. I'm not sure, but I am just deciding to pronounce it that way. But it's about Anigio's Trace Original and ICE digital trade. With Anigio's Trace Original, any type of data sets can be exchanged between any business networks or system APIs or agreements in place between parties. And that was the old version shown down here. And this is from Anigio. And again, if you look, we have Finastra, Contour, Swift, and possibly even WeTrade on the XDC map. Well, I don't think WeTrade is on here right here, but you've got Finastra called out, and that connects into Anigio and TradeFinex as well, which I will touch on here in a bit. And what else did we have on there? We had Contour. Where is that? I think that might be more in the Trade Tech map that I don't have pulled up right now. But then, of course, you have a connection into Swift as well by way of R3 Corda, which then connects into the DTCC, which heavily connects into XRP and XLM as well, as I tend to talk about often. So here is a little bit more on the tie-ins with XDC and the tokenization of documentation. So we are mapping key elements of the supply chain with the European blockchain service infrastructure, and that goes all of the way up from electronic documents and electronic signatures, which have to be handled in a way that can replicate the authenticity of an actual signature on paper now. And then you go into the cross-border data exchange, all of the way up into trade finance instruments, which are essentially ways to just say trade finance investments as well, which XDC is trying to open a lot of doors there, particularly by way of trade tech. So here is another one I found. TradeTrust is a Singaporean initiative that aims to facilitate the digitization and interoperability of trade and logistics documents. It is a framework of codes that defines formats and protocols, as well as the rules for validating and verifying their authenticity and integrity, which I will talk about again here in a bit. And then we have a little bit more on TradeTrust as well. It is on the XDC network, which is a hybrid chain built for trade and finance, and it has integrated with the IMDA's TradeTrust and launched an initiative to enable the creation and financing of MLETR compliant digital trade documents. So that is being put into use right now. So this right here is not directly tied into the documentation piece, but Fireblocks is a very large company that concentrates on the more compliance end of things, and it helps to perform different kinds of services in a compliant way. And if we go back here, they are tied into the XDC chain itself. I have not gone too deep into that at this point in time, but they are always there. And here is an interesting one that we will tie back to TradeFinex and SBI and Ripple and XRP and XDC. So we have the UAE recruits R3 for a digital assets lab, and this is from it is from the 18th of December 2023. So R3 has signed up to the digital assets lab run by Dubai based bank Emirates and BD. It launched in May of 2023 to accelerate its digital asset plans. So R3 joined. I always forget the name of this company. I think it's Price Waterhouse Corporation and Fireblocks as members. So we are tying them in as well. Whereas Fireblocks is primarily used as the underlying infrastructure for custody services, which is one form of compliance. R3 has concentrated on tokenization via its Corda platform. So here is one that even further makes the connection back to TradeFinex and the XDC network. So we have Swiftcourt AB secures a $2 million seed investment led by XVC Tech, enabling a move towards smart contracts by access to the XDC network. And that is not a huge amount there, but that is a sign that things are moving forward now. So here is the article from January 10th of 2024. And if you go down here, it says the XDC network will serve as the backbone to seal and verify the contract with a simple electronic seal. The contract would be co-signed between two parties on Swiftcourt's platform with a cryptographic hash and wrapping reference, and later can be used to verify the signed contract on the XDC network with the cryptographic hash. So not only are we connecting back to the digitization of trade documents, and not only are we tying back into what the XDC network and the R3 Corda platform can do for the electronic verification of those electronic documents, but we are actually seeing that come out of the UAE. And what just happened in the UAE? Well, from September 29th, we have news that that SBI works with TradeFinex out of the UAE to set up a joint crypto venture in Japan that all revolves around XDC and TradeFinex. So that all comes back to what XDC can do, who it is connected to, and the trade finance concentration that is provided by the R3 Corda platform, and also connects in to XRP by way of SBI, that seems to get involved in more and more with XDC and XLM.